through your amplifier.
God.
And...
Simple job, really.
And I think he did.
Face red like a rose and a thorn bush, like all the colors of a royal flush.
And I think all the feelings that I felt and trying to, you know, I wrote about it in a sort of biblical, like a biblical epic kind of thing. In the howling wind comes a stinging rain.
I mean, the thing there is,
yeah.
I had a great vocal. I mean, even if it was the guide vocal, I had a great vocal to work off, because that's, you know, when Bono's vocal went on top of that mad combination of Adam's bass and drums and Larry's drums, my guitar, that really set it off. And so it was kind of easier for me to get there as a guitar player with working off the vocal.
And I have a great respect for people's religion, and indeed I'm a believer myself, but, you know, when it gets really baroque, it's fascinating, and you know, the preaching, I've always, you know, it kind of frightens me. And I remember turning on the TV and going, wow, when we first got to America, these people are crazy. But it was influencing the songwriting. So I was going, this guy comes up to me, his face red like a rose on a rose bush, like all the colors of a royal flush. And I never said this before, but, you know, it was Ronald Reagan. And, you know, he had that kind of flushed thing. And I was so angry at the U.S., and I didn't want to make it a cheap political shot, but I had to get it out somehow. And I understand that communism now was ruining some beautiful countries, and there were dreadful things done in the name of communism, and it was perhaps more complex than I thought then. But I still didn't think these people should deserve their villages firebombed and the pounding they were taking in. Anyway, this is the stuff of this is songwriting by accident and design.
Edge, I'm sure you didn't realize when you first met Bono and you had a band together, you went, wow, he's going to be a good front man. You didn't realize he was going to then be, you know...
President of the United States.
Exactly, yeah. Took the words out of my mouth.
Pope.
Yes. Now, how does...
Mother Teresa.
Exactly.
You know, Bono's work is incredibly important because he can affect some real change. But what I see it from a musical perspective is at stake is, I think the thing that got us into music in the first place was music that meant something. And Bono mentioned the Clash, and I was thinking about White Man in Hammersmith Palais, which was one of the first songs that I really heard ever that introduced politics into a rock and roll lyric. And that band and that era of music really was what we came out of. And so Bono's work is totally consistent, as far as I'm concerned, with everything he's ever stood for as an artist. And I think it's important because that's what music should do. It should be political. It always has been since the 60s. There's always been a side of it that's just fun, but that political side, that side of music which keeps you awake, I think that's really in jeopardy now, and I think Bono's work is really important for that reason as well.
Elvis Presley dancing the way he did, that elastic spastic dance where he looked like he was holding the positive and negative terminals, and just the current was going through him, that was politically charged. They put the camera above his waist, you know, whether it's sexual, whether it's spiritual, rock and roll is something to do with liberation. Political, whatever, but it's awakeness.
How do you, Bono, not lose the thread of the band and its origins and all this stuff that actually is the root of where you come from, and be in these situations in the White House or wherever, and be able to have it all okay in your head?
But it's always, for us, it's always been the same. We always believed that the job of music was to change the world. We always believed that. We were 16, we believed that. Because it changed our world. It changed the size of your bedroom. It expanded it. It turned into, you know, time machine. You could go anywhere you want in your head.
Yeah.
Change the temperature of the room when an amazing song came on. And so we heard The Clash, and then we heard Bob Marley and Marvin Gaye and Bob Dylan, and you started to go, wow, you know, this is, you know, of course we can take on the world, and who's going to tell us we can't? And Patti Smith would say, you know, wrestle the world from fools, and I would just go, okay. And you know, I'll sign up for that. You know, why can't we?
No.
Why isn't our voice as important to hear? And people would say, well, of course, this is really difficult. This is economic theory, and how dare you think you're a pop star and can walk into that? I say, it's not. It's melody lines. It's like what Edge is talking about, music being math. I actually know what he means, but I see, when I look at math, I look for melody lines. And that might sound mad, but that's how I see whether it's economics or politics. And the same thing, ear that I have for a top-line melody, I'm going for it with them. And if somebody can't explain to me what this particular theory is very quickly, I'm not coming up to the conclusion that I'm stupid and they're smarter than me. I'm saying, you're just not very good at explaining. Try it again. And I felt emboldened, and we have felt emboldened by our music, by our audience. And when I go in and sit in front of a president or pope or whoever it is, I'm never, ever nervous or afraid.